Hey, I'm Dark North. In this video, I'll be talking about the best team comps for Childe and how they work, and I'll also be going over what candidates would be good for each team. So let's start with Tartaglia Vaporize Team. The core members of this team are Childe, Xiangling, and Bennett. This is basically the national team, but instead of using Xingqiu, we use Tartaglia and stay on him during Xiangling's burst, and use melee stance, normal and charge attacks to rapidly apply Hydro to the enemy, allowing Xiangling burst to vape consistently. The two units you need to invest in here are Tartaglia and Xiangling. As Xiangling is going to be doing most of the damage, make sure to invest into her properly. Bennett is always paired with Xiangling as he provides Pyro Resonance, attack buff to the team, healing, and generates energy for Xiangling. If you don't have Bennett, you can use the only other attack buffer in the game as of making this video, who is Sara, though she would be better suited in the Tartaglia-Electro team comp, especially at C6. The fourth slot can be an Anemo character to shred resistance with Viridescent Venerer. Sucrose and Kazuha can directly buff Xiangling's damage, which is great. Venti can do hard crowd control and refunds energy, and Jean and Sayu can heal. You can also use shielders like Zhongli, who can shred resistance, petrify, drop his meteor, and do a lot of damage. Diona also works as a healer and can give some melts to Xiangling with her burst, and gives an EM buff at C6, which is very good in a Vaporize team. So now let's talk about the Tartaglia-Electro-Charged Team, or more commonly or popularly known as the Fireworks Team. The core members of this team are Tartaglia plus Beidou. Beidou has a high damaging burst that can also snapshot, so she can use attack buffs from Bennett or Sarah and buffs from Sucrose and Kazuha, and then use her burst, and the buffs will snapshot, increasing the damage of the burst, which will last even after the buffs expire till her burst ends. She also gets stronger at C2 against 2 or more enemies, and at C6. For this team, you generally want to have an Electro character / battery in the third slot due to Beidou burst having high energy cost. The best candidate for this, who's also the most popular, is Fischl, who generates a lot of energy with Oz and also does a lot of damage. And her passive, which triggers when she's off field, which does more damage when someone triggers an Electro reaction, only adds to this damage in this team. You can also use Sara. While she does not generate as much energy as Oz, she gives an attack buff to the team, gives Electro Resonance, and also gives more crit damage to Electro attacks at C6, which is a lot of things that she provides, taking only one slot. Raiden E also generates a lot of energy, but Raiden Burst does not proc Beidou's burst, so using Raiden here is a bit awkward. And not to mention, Raiden and Tartag would also compete for on-field time, so I would rather use her in another team, but if you really want to, she does kind of work. Just make sure to use her burst outside of Beidou's burst, as they don't work together, so you're kind of wasting Beidou's burst if you use them at the same time, and you can basically use her as a nuke battery. You can also use Bennett with a Favonius sword, who gives an attack buff and healing. He can also be used in the fourth slot. Talking about that, the fourth slot can be Anemo for Viridescent Shred like Kazuha and Sucrose to directly buff Beidou burst, Venti for hard crowd control and energy refund, and Jean and Sayu for healing. You can also use shielders like Zhongli, who can shred resistance, petrify, drop a meteor, and Diona, who gives healing and also can give EM to the party at C6, which is good for Electro-Charged. Now let's talk about the third team, which is the Vaporize-Electro-Charged-Overload team, where you basically use both Xiangling and Beidou together with Tartaglia. This team does work, but the downside is knockback against lightweight enemies, so you need to have crowd control if you're using this team against those enemies. And of course, if you're fighting boss enemies, which there are a lot of in the current Abyss, then this is not really an issue. You're also using two characters with very powerful bursts on the same team. Instead of that, they could have been split up to increase the other team's damage, but again, this is not a problem if they were unused in the first place and you already have a very strong second team. The fourth slot can be attack buffers like Bennett, who can give Pyro Resonance with Xiangling, give an attack buff, healing, and generate energy for Xiangling, or Sara, who can give Electro Resonance with Beidou, give an attack buff to the entire team, and also give Electro crit damage at C6. You can use Anemo for Viridescent Shred like Kazuha and Sucrose to directly buff Beidou's burst, Venti for hard crowd control and energy refund, and Jean and Sayu for healing. You can also use shielders like Zhongli, who can shred resistance, petrify, drop a meteor, and Diona, who gives healing and also gives EM to the party at C6. And those were some Tartaglia team comps that I thought were powerful and good. There's obviously more combinations that you can use, and this is just a PvE game at the end of the day, so you can do whatever the hell you want. If you found this helpful, consider leaving a like. If you have any thoughts, comments, or questions, you can leave them down below. And be sure to sub to the channel if you want to see more stuff like this. I would really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, have a good one.